Today, Asura opened the treasure pavilion to help her be reborn. Long time no see, little Rain meets the reborn Lunalight. Asura's sixth sister called out Lunalight's name with a solemn expression. Although Lunalight also wants a genuine reconciliation with Asura's sixth sister, she doesn't hold back in her words. "Look at your expression," she says. "You don't want to reminisce with me, do you?" "Sorry, I have absolutely no interest in reminiscing. Especially not with enemies." Upon hearing the word, "enemies," the sisters behind me revealed an expression of confusion. The sixth sister suddenly apologized. "I am truly sorry for what happened with the Yinming Empire. If possible, I hope we can be like we used to be." Lunalight turned around at the words, and her voice came out coldly. "No need. Talking about this, and that with me right now, is completely meaningless. This time your younger brother rescued both me and White Eyes. But we also gave him sacred beast essence blood to help him break through. So we are even between us. As for other matters, let's discuss them later." The voice fell. Lunalight Princess rides a white long and departs gallantly. As she leaves, she looks back reluctantly at Asura's sixth sister. As one by one, each person and Long leaves the area. Asura spoke up and asked second sister and the third sister, "What should we do about the matter concerning sister the sixth sister and Lunalight?" The two sisters reassured him not to worry about it. It's better to let her calm down for now. After all, they used to be so close, but now have become enemies. It must be hard for anyone to experience such a change in their relationship. The grudges between them can only be resolved by themselves. White Long carried Lunalight Princess to the outskirts of the Forest of the Nightingale, and White Long asked the princess without understanding, "Princess, were the words you said to the great Chu Marshal just now a bit too much?" At this moment, Lunalight still cannot truly reconcile with Churyu. Because Asura's sixth sister suddenly called out the true name of the Princess of Lunalight in the Empire, which exposed her identity. Otherwise, they would never have known. The princess they had been searching for many years has been in front of the No Evil sect all along. Lunalight, who learned the truth, did not harbor resentment for Churyu calling out her name and exposing her identity. Now the only thing I can do is seek revenge. Only after successful revenge can I completely let go of all my grudges and face her again. The other side of Forest of the Nightingale. I see the two sisters are thanking Asura. Asura, thank you so much this time. If it weren't for you saving us, we might have become resentful spirits like those treasure seekers now. In order to repay you properly, why don't you come back to Sword Burial City with us? This suggestion was made. Asura instantly broke out in a cold sweat. He even thought this was an invitation for him to marry into their family. Immediately, he replied with, "Little junior sister is still waiting for me at the sect. How could I halfway give myself to other girls?" Just because of this man. He saved the Sword Tomb sisters at the treasure pavilion. The two of them are about to take him home to meet their father. Facing the request from the girl in red to go home, Asura thinks she wants to bring him home as a son-in-law. Immediately, he curtly replied, "Little junior sister is still waiting for me at the sect. How can I just hand myself over to another girl halfway?" Asura's second sister suddenly stepped forward and hugged Asura, reprimanding, "Where are you going, you little brat? They just invited you to visit Sword Burial City." The red-dressed sister chimed in, Yes, yes. Come visit Sword Burial City with us. It won't take up much of your time." Upon learning the truth, Asura instantly became speechless. He almost thought he had to marry into their family. He then awkwardly scratched his head and reluctantly agreed. "Since you have sincerely invited me, I will graciously accept." "That's great." Just at this moment, the voice of Asura's sixth sister suddenly sounded. "Asura, after you return from Sword Burial City, come to Long City to find me. I have something to ask for your help with." Asura was a bit puzzled, but the sixth sister did not explain further. When facing Asura's repeated inquiries, the sixth sister informed him that the timing was not right yet. It wouldn't be useful to tell you now. Upon hearing this, Asura decided to bid farewell to all his elder sisters, and planned to head to Long City immediately upon his return from Sword Burial City. Within the main mansion of Sword Burial City, only the angry shouting of a middle-aged man could be heard emanating from inside the mansion. "Where have you all been these days?" The two sisters could only stammer out an explanation about heading to the forest of the Nightingale. The fierce man shouting angrily is their father, also the lord of Sword Burial City, Swordja. The girl in red suddenly stepped forward and took her father's arm, shyly speaking up. "Father, it's all my fault. It's because I got lost in the forest of the Nightingale that my sister suffered with me. Punish me if you must." Unable to resist his daughter's sweet words and pouting, the father relented. The lord's originally serious expression instantly lit up with a look of happiness. At that moment, the lord's gaze shifted towards Asura standing on the side, and then he spoke up, asking, "And who are you, young man?" Asura bowed and replied, "Junior Asura pays respects to senior." The two girls saw their father's serious expression. The two sisters hurried forward to explain. "We were able to come back safely this time thanks to Asura helping us. Without Asura, my sister and I would have been in grave danger." Upon hearing that Asura is the savior of his beloved daughter's life, the Lord suddenly extended his two sturdy arms in front of Asura. He no longer had a hint of the dignity of a lord, crying and thanking little friend Yi tearfully for saving his daughter's life. The lord of Sword Burial City suddenly turned his gaze to the sacred weapon behind Asura, in order to repay your kindness. "I am willing to personally help your sacred weapon, No Edge, to sharpen its blade." Asura was taken to the Lord's manor in Sword Burial City by the Blossom Sisters. He was then attacked by a mysterious woman. The Lord learned that his daughter's life was saved by Asura. He directly offered to personally help Asura sharpen the No Edge blade. Asura was shocked at the words. Immediately, he took out the sacred weapon from behind and asked the senior, "Do you recognize this sword?" The city lord spoke up and explained, "Of course I recognize it. This heavy sword, No Edge, was forged 1,000 years ago by a genius swordsmith named Sword Slave. I just didn't expect this extraordinary sacred weapon to be in your hands now. After the No Edge is opened, its power will be even stronger than before, and your overall combat capability will also be improved." Asura started to savor the increase in combat power mentioned by the city lord. But his heart had long been filled with joy, feeling that this wave is definitely a big gain for me. Immediately, he handed No Edge to the city lord, bowed, and said, "I, as a junior, respectfully comply with your decision." The city lord asked his two daughters to accompany Asura to play in the city for 3 days. After 3 days, he promised to give Asura a brand new sacred weapon. The two sisters brought Asura to a courtyard in the mansion. "Asura, you will stay here for the next few days. Have a good rest tonight. Tomorrow morning, we will take you out for a walk." Asura responded with a nod. Unexpectedly, at that moment, 2 concealed weapons suddenly shot towards Asura. Asura has sharp perception. He dodged this attack by sidestepping. He looked in the direction of the attack and saw a woman walking slowly with a long sword. "Are you Asura?" she asked. "I see you no longer have No Edge. It seems you are not that strong after all." The woman's name is Swordling. Everyone only knows about the 6 amazing older sisters of Asura. But they do not know that Asura's own strength is equally terrifying. The manga is currently here. More chapters will be released when new chapters are available. Thank you for the support from all of you. Everyone thinks that the 4 sisters who have appeared so far. Which one is the best sister on the scene? Who would have thought that this sneak attacker turned out to be Asura, saving the younger sister of the sister flower? This woman likes to spar with strong opponents. Asura is wanting to test the results of his training. Even when No Edge is near its sharp edge, his combat power is still not something a woman can challenge. Just as the 2 sisters were introducing Asura to the Lord's mansion, two hidden weapons suddenly flew in. After dodging and easily avoiding them, Asura swiftly moved. A woman's voice followed. "Are you Asura? It seems like without the heaven's edge, you are nothing special." Sister in purple robe immediately spoke out. "Jade, what are you doing?" The woman named Jade actually stepped forward and called her sister. Then she revealed her intention to spar with Asura. Asura was shocked on the side, not expecting that they had another sister. Jade immediately left Asura and started discussing with her sister in the purple robe. "Is Asura really someone who came out alive from the forest of the Nightingale? Besides having quick reactions, I haven't seen anything extraordinary about him." Upon hearing this, Asura was speechless on the side. The sister in the red robe kindly stepped forward to advise Jade. "Sister, let me tell you, Asura is actually very powerful. Both in skills and psychological strategy, neither I nor your sister Wan Qing are his match. The two sisters can see Asura's extraordinary talent. They can only kindly advise Jade." Jade, however, does not believe that someone at the Earth Essence stage can be so powerful. Sister in the purple robe also stepped forward and echoed. "Of course. Can someone who successfully led us out of the forest of the Nightingale be just an ordinary person?" Asura scratched his head bashfully on the side. To everyone's surprise, this only further fueled Sister Jade's desire for battle. "Since that's the case, let's have a competition tomorrow, Asura." Asura was momentarily stunned, then pointed at herself in disbelief. Both of her sisters had advised her, yet she was so stubborn and wouldn't listen. "I have always enjoyed sparring with skilled individuals. For me, it is both a challenge and a pleasure. How about that? Are you interested in having a match with me?" Asura smiled and directly agreed. Since he was free these days anyway, there was no harm in it. He might as well have a spar with this lady at the celestial origin stage. It would be a good opportunity to test the results of his previous experiences. "Then tomorrow at noon, let's meet here without fail." After saying that, the woman no longer lingered and turned around to leave. The next morning, Asura was still deeply immersed in a sound sleep. A flying sword suddenly pierced through the window. With a clang, Asura firmly caught the sword by the blade with 2 fingers. Asura was sparring with the younger sister of the Flower Sisters. The scheduled time is the next day at noon. The next morning, just as Asura was still deeply asleep and enjoying a good rest, a flying sword pierced through Asura's dream, with a clanging sound, only to see Asura firmly gripping the sword with 2 fingers. The morning sunlight streamed through the glass and filled the room. Asura spoke and asked, "I say, miss, isn't it a bit too early for us to start competing now?" The woman sneered upon hearing this and said, Because I was so excited to spar with you, I couldn't fall asleep all night. That's why I came early, even before Asura got out of bed." He was then taken by the woman's arm and led outside. "Come on, since you're awake now, let's get started right away," she said. The two came to the courtyard and faced each other in battle. The woman explained the rules. "Let's have 3 rounds, and you need to win 2 rounds to win. If you win, I will acknowledge you as the boss from now on, and you have to buy me spicy sticks to eat. But if you lose, then you have to agree to a condition from me. How about that?" Asura agreed to it. He is quite confident in his own strength. The woman is also uncompromising, directly unleashing the sword chi of the martial sword body, instantly filling the hall with spiritual chi, a green sword chi fiercely stabbing out, the sacred weapon that Asura was still upgrading, then displaying the 9 heaven celestial thunder flame to confront it head-on. The 2 attacks collided, and terrifying spiritual chi instantly bloomed in this courtyard. Asura couldn't help but praise when he saw the situation, worthy of being at the celestial origin stage. "You're pretty fast." The woman is quite confident. "What other moves do you have? Release them all, or you won't have a chance later." Asura smiled upon hearing this and said, "All right, this is what you said." And as he finished speaking, a huge blood-red long suddenly emerged from his body. Since that's the case, let's give this move a try. This man has always been obliging and willing to help. Yi Asura summons Divine Long for an easy victory. However, unexpectedly, he is being toyed with by Swordling Yu. After the intense martial arts showdown between the two, Swordling Yu still doesn't know what he will experience. He bravely boasts, "Do you have any more tricks? Use them all." Upon hearing this, Yi Asura reveals a smile. He then unleashes the 9 revolutions Divine Long blood. Just then, a blood-red giant Long suddenly emerges, accompanied by Yi Asura waving his palm. The blood-red Long's head twisted fiercely, and suddenly burst out. Swordling Yu's beautiful eyes suddenly focused. At the same time as she dodged to the side, her right hand began to gather green energy. The momentum was quite impressive. "Unfortunately, you are still too slow." With a voice falling, the energy ball in her hand instantly blasted out. The speed was so fast that it directly reached the front door of Long. Yi Asura, however, did not get angry but instead laughed. Unexpectedly, the next moment, Long's figure mysteriously disappeared in place. Swordling Yu stared blankly at this scene, his face filled with a look of astonishment. She was completely unaware. Long had already appeared behind her, holding a green energy ball in his mouth. After Swordling Yu realized what was happening, she quickly released another energy beam, trying to catch Yu this time. To her surprise, Blood Long disappeared again the next moment. Swordling Yu's face turned red with anger. "How am I supposed to fight you like this?" Looking at Swordling Yu roaring in frustration helplessly, Yi Asura couldn't help but sigh. The 9 revolutions Divine Long blood, made from the Divine Beast Essence blood within the white eyes, truly lives up to its reputation. This way of fighting is simply as lacking as she herself. The power aside, the constant teasing and tormenting of the opponent's mentality make it impossible to predict where she will appear next. This move is indeed quite damaging. Just then, Swordling Yu's voice suddenly came. "If you have the ability, let her face me directly. Is it fun to keep hiding like this?" Facing such a request that seemed like asking for trouble, Yi Asura agreed directly. After Long's appearance, he directly returned all the attacks from Swordling Yu in Long's mouth. Swordling Yu is stunned with disbelief, not daring to believe that he has been unilaterally teased. Yi Asura smirked. "I have always been accommodating. As long as the request is not excessive, I can fulfill it." As the voice fell, a terrifying explosion swept through the courtyard. Yi Asura's figure appeared in front of Swordling Yu. Immediately, he reached out his palm and asked, "Are you okay? Should we continue our match now?" When Swordling Yu reached out his jade hand, her cunning and charming face suddenly had a touch of wickedness. "Oh no, I have a cramp in my foot." Yi Asura blushed. His sturdy body was directly ridden on by Swordling Yu, facing Yi Asura's awkward inquiry. Swordling Yu, however, revealed a charming smile. "Hee, you've teased me for so long. Now it's my turn, right?" Yi Asura's strength overwhelmed Swordling Yu. Unexpectedly, he was teased back by her. This was witnessed by the two sisters. Swordling Yu took advantage of the opportunity to stand up. She pushed Yi Asura down in one fell swoop. "I made you play along for so long just now it's my turn, right?" Yi Asura lay on the ground and explained. "This should be called taking our match seriously." But Swordling Yu couldn't forget the teasing from before. The long whip in her hand cracked loudly. While she acknowledged the words spoken by Yi Asura, she was unwilling to let things go so easily. "You make a good point, but I won't listen." Just as Yi Asura was about to get up and argue, a woman's scream suddenly rang out. Seeing the two of them in this position, the sisters hurriedly asked what was happening. The girl in red turned her blushing face away, trying to cover up her embarrassment, saying, "You guys made such a big commotion. You even shook the ground so much that it collapsed." The two still wanted to explain that the vibration was caused by the battle just now. Unexpectedly, the girl in red hugged Swordling Yu and said, "No need to explain, we all understand." The two sisters stepped forward and revealed the matter of no edge having already unsheathed the sword. Asura responded with a sound and immediately set off, with Swordling Yu following suit. After a few people arrived at Heavenly Vault, he took the no edge from the city lord's hand. The moment the sword was unsheathed, a strong sword intent burst out from within the scabbard. The originally bright space suddenly appeared so dark. A secret art suddenly flashed into Asura's mind. This is the mystic technique secret art that comes with the heavy sword no edge. Tenfold divine flash. After he sheathed no edge, he then prepared to set off back to Long City to find the sixth sister. After arriving outside the city gate, the three sisters bid farewell to Asura together. Swordling Yu also wanted to detain him, but it was urgent, so he had to set off immediately. So that's how it is. Will you still come to play with us after you leave? Asura agreed with a loud, "Yes! It's a deal." 3 days later, Asura set foot in the great Chulong city. Although the sixth sister told him to come to Long City, she did not tell him the specific location. He randomly asked a passerby for directions to the sixth sister's mansion. He then hurried to the imperial palace. But without a royal token, it is impossible to enter such a place. Just then, a female voice suddenly rang out. "Are you Asura?" Asura was taken aback at the words. "Senior, do you know me?" "The younger brother of the Supreme Marshal of the Legion, Churyu. It's hard not to recognize you. This woman is not only the great Chu Empress, and she is also the mother of Asura's sixth sister." Asura came to the palace to find the sixth sister. A stunning woman suddenly appeared and asked a question. "You are the younger brother of Supreme Marshal of the Legion Churyu, right?" Asura made a salute and inquired, "Please forgive my ignorance. Please enlighten me, senior." Just then, a familiar voice suddenly sounded. "Mother! How did you get here?" Looking towards the direction of the voice, the sixth sister also arrived outside the palace. Moreover, she actually referred to the woman in front of her as Mother Queen. "Is the sixth sister a princess of the royal family? Isn't the person in front of us the emperor of the Great Chu?" Empress answered Asura's doubts. "Correct. I am Emperor Chu Dreamfly of the Great Chu. And this is my daughter, Princess Jin of the Great Chu Empire." The sixth sister has hidden her identity for so long, yet she is still so mysterious. Asura hurriedly apologized sincerely for the rudeness just now. The Empress also didn't mind such trivial matters. Later, she led Asura into the palace and instructed Churi to take good care of Asura and show him around the palace. Looking at the graceful Empress Asura, there was a hint of confusion. How did someone as kind and approachable as the Great Chu Empress, who is powerful and beautiful, end up interested in my alcoholic father? Even when your majesty was young, you were still a princess before becoming an empress, right? Thinking about it, Asura also feels incredible. One is an empress and the other is a drunkard. The empress seemed to notice Asura's abnormal behavior and immediately asked, scratching her head. He then explained what he had just thought about his father. Who would have expected that the empress suddenly emitted a powerful aura? "Don't mention that old immortal. That dog of a man, I will settle the score with him sooner or later." Asura's heart skipped a beat. Such a strong momentum. But rest assured, the grudges of our older generation will not involve your younger generation. Asura awkwardly responded with a sound. After arriving at the Great Ming Palace, the sixth sister explained to him the reason for summoning him. Recently, many villagers in the northern regions of Great Chu have gone missing. Moreover, this must be related to individuals practicing the cultivate evil technique. Facing Asura's doubts, the sixth sister gave this heavy burden to Asura. Rather than instructing you to investigate, it is more about letting you gain experience and potentially improve your strength. Asura has a slight worry that it might not be sufficient for me to investigate this matter alone. "Don't worry, isn't there still her?" As the sixth sister's voice trailed off, a white-haired woman carrying two swords only seen coming in front of the two. this white-haired shadow guard. She was arranged by the sixth sister to accompany Asura to investigate the evil cultivator. Accompanied by the arrival of the white-haired woman, the sixth sister explains that this is the assistant personally chosen for you by sister, our shadow guard from the Great Chu. She will assist you in this investigation. The female shadow guard respectfully greeted Asura and the sixth sister. Facing this spiritual king stage shadow guard, Asura realized that the difficulty of this investigation was not small. The sixth sister informed Asura that Qingyinar will tell you later. As for the difficulty level, you will know once you go there. Under the urging of the sixth sister, Asura took on this heavy burden and set off immediately. On the way, Asura asked Yinar if there were any commonalities among the missing villagers this time, such as being children or all women. The mortals who went missing this time were all young, strong adult men. This has made Asura quite puzzled. Usually, evil cultivators capture infants or virgins. Could it be a female evil cultivator this time? He immediately continued to inquire. Are there any nearby villages where no missing incidents have occurred? Currently, only a village 500 li south of the city, and another village 100 li north have not been attacked. This makes Asura understand that evil cultivators often frequent the southern region. That proves his hiding place is in the south. After all, this way they can save time to quickly cultivate their physical bodies. The two of them reached a consensus on their goal and immediately planned to set off for the village to the south. At this time, in the village, only 3 adult men were seen going out hunting. But suddenly, a strange black mist appeared in front of them. Everyone understood that this was probably the culprit behind the disappearance of the villagers. The black mist then revealed a sinister, cackling laughter. After it grabbed the 3 men, it hadn't had the chance to devour their essence yet. A golden lightning bolt suddenly struck down, instantly severing its arm, followed by a miserable cry. The smoke slowly dissipates on the ground, once again forming a shape. Mysterious sounds emanate from within. Who dares to come and ruin my good things? A man and a woman appear on the scene. What an evil cultivator! Finally, we have found you. Asura teamed up with Qingyinar to fight the evil cultivator. When the evil cultivator is about to commit crimes again, the two people landed in this area together. Good one, evil cultivator. Finally, we found you, but the elder is not afraid at all. He actually set his sights on the Earth Essence stage and spiritual king stage bodies. He threatened to turn the two of them into living corpses. Asura pointed his sword at the evil cultivator and rebuked. For the sake of the evil art, you went so far as to massacre innocent villagers. You are truly despicable. Young master, no need to waste words with him. Just kill him directly. Qingyinar sent out her twin swords from behind her back. The old man summoned a group of bronze corpses. Suddenly, strange waves of blood essence surged in the field. The number of villagers being turned into bronze corpses shocked the two of them. Just then, 3 villagers recognized someone they knew inside the bronze corpse. When they were about to exclaim in surprise, Asura interrupted their conversation and dispersed the 3 of them. A group of bronze corpse members then swiftly rushed towards Asura. Asura spoke, gesturing for them not to hold back. These people are already dead, let them be freed. 2 dazzling flames shimmered in this area. The charging Broskus was completely burned to ashes. But the old man was not angry. Instead he laughed and praised Asura's physical body. What a strong physical body, I like it. If I can refine the 2 of them into golden corpses, then I will have the combat power of 2 spiritual king stage. After he beheaded the last bronze corpse, the voice of the old man then sounded. Not bad, not bad. Just as expected of the person I set my eyes on, Asura. With disdain, Asura pointed his sword at the old man, making him surrender. But right after that, the old man summoned dozens of bronze corpses. It's really endless. Instead of fighting these bronze corpses, it's better to just take care of that old thing directly. Asura signaled for Qingyuner to deal with the bronze corpses, and personally stepped forward to kill the old man. "Yes, young master." The voice fell. Asura jumped out of Broska's group in one leap. He directly chased after the fleeing old man. 9 revolutions tyrant blood instantly boiled, as the thunder flame in his hand exploded suddenly. The old man, however, had long anticipated this. He threw out the condensed majestic blood energy from his palm to counter the attack. The golden thunder flame was instantly swallowed by the blood energy, causing Asura to exclaim in surprise. He was then enveloped by the explosion spreading from the palm. But the old man suddenly froze, only to see Asura's 9 revolutions golden bone open directly, dispersing the surrounding blood aura. The old man was very happy to see this. "Your physical body is indeed extraordinary. I admit that you are very strong. Unfortunately, no matter how strong you are only at the earth essence stage." I saw the old man actually taking off the black robe, revealing a skeleton with a head on top. Seeing this scene, Asura couldn't help but curse. It's no wonder an evil cultivator like this can survive. The old man let out a weird laugh. He threatened to turn Asura and the other person into living corpses. Asura killed the evil cultivator with one move. But he was overwhelmed by the half-saint expert from the 5 evil sect. He intercepted Asura and Qingyuner together. Seeing the skeleton true form revealed by evil cultivator, Asura was very shocked, not by the strength of the elder, but by this disgusting body. The elder's face broke into a smile. He directly summoned the flesh and blood puppet, which rushed forward suddenly. Asura secretly lamented that he must deal with him as soon as possible, otherwise he would be disgusted to death before he even fought a few rounds with him. 9 revolutions Divian long blood instantly drilled out from the body. Blood long opened its blood basin wide. It bit the oncoming puppet directly into pieces, wailing echoed through the venue. The old man was startled. He was still shocked when his strongest puppet was defeated so easily. Blood long continued to charge towards the old man. As the old man's screams rang out. This battle has also come to its final chapter. When Asura and Qingyuner stepped forward to inspect it, the old man is still shouting. Asura lifts the no edge and condenses the 9 heavens thunder flame. He directly drowned the old man's body. Just when he thought the battle was over, a voice suddenly rang out. "Kid, isn't it a bit too early for you to say that now?" Looking over, only a middle-aged man from Blooming Steps has arrived at this site. Asura was startled. His own second sister can also master the Blooming Steps, which means this guy is at least a formidable half-saint powerhouse. When faced with Asura's inquiry, the man directly revealed his title. "I am the Dan Lord of the 5 evil sect. I have to say, you have great strength to defeat Dark Flame in just one move. However, you have discovered the secret of our 5 evil sect. Today, you must die." As the voice fell, numerous clusters of blood balls swiftly flew over. Asura raised the no edge to block, but felt deeply hopeless. In just the time of an incense stick burning, their opponent directly advanced from the celestial essence stage to the half-saint stage. Although this is somewhat beyond his ability, he must face it. "Young master, be careful." Qingyuner also stepped forward to help. A golden dragon, along with the sword wind, was swung out, making a clashing sound as the golden dragon toyed with the martial arts beads. Long Guard Dan Lord showed interest upon meeting the Great Chu. Qingyuner then greeted Asura and suggested leaving. "Neither you nor I are a match for this person in front of the young master. We have no chance of winning against him in a fight. So later, I'll hold him back first, and you take this opportunity to leave as quickly as possible. Wait until Asura voices his opposition." A man's voice suddenly rang out. "Stop thinking about finding a way out. Killing me, a sect cultivator, is detrimental to my sect's interests. None of you will escape today." A sudden flash of golden light. An energy barrier instantly enveloped Asura. This woman is Asura's formation master 5th sister, Not only does she have stunning looks, but her strength is also at the peak of the continent. Asura destroys the evil cult. He was blocked by the half-saint Lao Guai of the Five Evil sect at a critical moment, but Fifth Sister suddenly appeared and broke the formation with one hand. After being restricted by the formation, Asura and the other person. Lord Dan then smiled, but he dared not engage in a fight with the two of them. Asura Yi spoke up, claiming that a half-saint stage could easily defeat both Earth Essence stage and Spiritual King stage. But do you lack confidence in yourself in this regard? Qing Yin'er followed suit and said,
Yeah, by keeping us in place, aren't you afraid that we might escape?
Although knowing that this is a tactic to provoke, Dan Lord is very cautious. He shot out a strange purple beam from his hand for a long-range attack. Asura and the other two were restricted by the formation and couldn't move. No Edge's sword suddenly burst with a golden light in this critical moment. The golden light crossed Qing Yin'er and collided with the purple beam. Dan Lord knew that this was the light of Chaos Jade. Only weapons polished by Chaos Jade would retain the light of Jade on them. When the owner of the weapon is in danger, it will burst out of the weapon to protect the owner. Dan Lord, however, doubted the identity of Asura. After learning Asura's name, Dan Lord fell into contemplation. People surnamed Yi are not from the Great Chu royal family. But he has the Great Chu Long Guard by his side for protection. Dan Lord instantly realized,
Kid, is your father Yi Skywind?
After he received a positive response, Dan Lord unleashed his aura and burst into a wild laughter. Years ago, Yi Skywind single-handedly destroyed the Five Evil sect, but today he can see his son again. Is this not a case of being unable to defeat the parent and then bullying the child? Dan Lord still wants to ruthlessly kill Asura in the most cruel way. But Asura is a bit impatient. If you didn't know, you might think you're all talk and no action, right? Dan Lord has nothing to say in response. But he plans to launch another energy attack. However, the Jade Amulet can only protect its owner once, watching the energy beam getting closer. Asura remained very calm. He seemed to anticipate that someone would come to the rescue. Qing Yin'er exclaimed in alarm. In a critical moment, a delicate feather fan waved gently, instantly shattering the formation. The purple energy also vanished along with it. Dan Lord opened his mouth wide, unable to believe it. The stunning beauty, who arrived as none other than Asura's formation master Fifth Sister. I am really sorry. I accidentally broke your gloomy radiance. You won't blame me, will you, fellow Taoist? This breathtaking beauty turns out to be Asura's Fifth Sister. She is also the #1 spell Empress in the mainland. With just a gentle wave of her feather fan, she broke Dan Lord's gloomy radiance. Dan Lord recklessly scolded the woman for not knowing her place. Shuga Melody, at your service. Once this was said, cold sweat covered the man's face. This lady is none other than Shuga Melody, known as the spell Empress on the mainland. Dan Lord was very puzzled. He bowed and asked,
Respected spell Empress, traditionally, my Five Evil sect and your celestial mechanism city do not interfere with each other. Please refrain from getting involved in today's matter.
If I insist on getting involved, what will you do? Dan Lord is overly confident in his own abilities and delusional about using force. This sister lightly waved her feather fan, driving a soft red energy that enveloped Asura and the two of them. If you want to fight, I'm ready to accompany you. The two of you can stay inside for now. In the next moment, Dan Lord's palm condensed a strange purple thunder and flame. He suddenly grabbed towards Asura, and Asura summoned no edge intending to confront him head-on. He was just about to summon 9 revolutions divine long with the added sword body. The attack was completely blocked by red energy. If you want to kill Asura, you have to get through me, Fifth Sister, first. Asura opened his mouth wide, unable to believe that this was actually his Fifth Sister. Dan Lord shouted in anger. He manipulated the giant waves and charged towards Fifth Sister. Fifth Sister raised her face slightly cold, and the myriad sword death formation bloomed instantly from behind her. Such a powerful formation. With just a gentle shake of her feather fan, she could mobilize the sharp sword chi and charge towards the giant waves. Qing Yin'er couldn't help but exclaim at the fierceness of this spell empress. Normally, setting up a killing formation would take at least an hour. This spell empress can easily cast it. Watching Fifth Sister stroll leisurely, Yi Asura complimented Fifth Sister as really amazing. In an instant, the sword formation pierced through the giant waves, causing clouds of dust to rise from the ground where Dan Lord was located. As the smoke cleared, Dan Lord slowly walked out with his battered body. I did underestimate this spell empress indeed. He then took out a demon potion, preparing to unleash a secret art. After ingesting the demonic Dan, his originally half-saint level power rapidly surged, and his physical strength was on the verge of breaking through. Fifth Sister continued to nonchalantly activate the myriad sword death formation. But this time, she was resisted by Dan Lord's utilization of chi and blood. He thought he could overthrow Spell Empress and laughed madly. His figure also flickered along. He immediately appeared in front of Fifth Sister. But the next moment, a wonderful voice suddenly came from Fifth Sister's mouth.
Seal Heaven and Lock Earth formation, activate.
As the voice fell, a huge cyan light illuminated the sky, and countless iron chains swiftly pounced towards Dan Lord. In just a few breaths of time, she elevated the strength of Dan Lord by one level, leaving Dan Lord with an unbelieving voice.
How? How is this possible?
This woman is the strongest formation master in the entire continent. He is also the fifth sister of Yi Asura. When Yi Asura was almost ambushed by a powerful half-saint expert, an emperor-rank formation directly bound Dan Lord. Dan Lord, who had gone berserk, unexpectedly found that his spiritual chi was being continuously absorbed. This sister intervened and reminded,
"You should give up struggling. This is an emperor-rank formation diagram. It will slowly drain your spiritual chi through the chains."
Dan Lord sighed at the grandeur of the emperor's drawing, but dark energy began to spread in his body. This sister's gaze fixed on the chains, and the next moment, the sound of the chains breaking one after another rang out frequently. Dan Lord disdainfully asked,
"Is the legendary spell Empress just like this?"
This sister waved her feathered fan, ready to use a point of real skill, otherwise she would really be underestimated, only to see a larger formation diagram reflecting in the air. Dan Lord was stunned for a moment. He had just boasted a little, but how come another formation appeared in the flick of a hand? A surging flood of water poured out from within the formation. Dan Lord then activated his vitality to contend with it. A red and a blue aura collided with each other. The moment they touched, the vitality was devoured. Endless flood surged towards Dan Lord. In an instant, it swallowed him up. Yi Asura and Qing Yin'er below exclaimed, truly worthy of the spell Empress. Only by relying on the formation could they leave the half-saint stage evil cultivator completely defenseless. This sister covered her mouth and chuckled lightly, still maintaining a calm demeanor. It must be unpleasant to be heavily injured by one's own big move, isn't it? Dan Lord also understands that if we continue to fight now, it is likely that the one who will end up dead in the end is not Yi Asura, but oneself. The idea failed, and smoke billowed at his feet, attempting to use a diversion to escape in front of the spell Empress. His main body then sped away at the speed of light towards a distance to escape. But in front of Fifth Sister, this kind of trick is obviously not enough. Before Fifth Sister could make a move, Yi Asura suddenly rushed towards the Dan Lord in the air, unleashing the divine long blood. Dan Lord exclaimed in surprise,
"This is not good!"
The next moment, he was tightly entwined by divine long. It's not that easy to escape now, if you want to. Yi Asura condensed the divine long blood, executed the Qing Yin'er sword technique, and blasted it towards the Dan Lord in the air. With a splendid explosion in the air resounding, a half-saint powerhouse was tortured to death, and Fifth Sister fell from the sky. Yi Asura then praised his older sister's strength as she landed. Fifth Sister approached with a charming manner, embracing Yi Asura and said,
You are my little brother. Do we still need to be polite with each other?
However, when faced with the question of why Fifth Sister appeared in this place, Fifth Sister, however, revealed the purpose of this trip, saying,
Is there even a need to ask? Of course, I came all the way here specifically to find you.
This man not only has 6 stunningly beautiful sisters, he also has a secretly contracted relationship with a little junior sister at home. She is waiting for him to return when Asura is in danger. Fifth Sister Spell Empress comes to eliminate Dan Lord aggressively. But he learned that Fifth Sister came specifically to find him. Asura was taken aback. Fifth Sister covered her mouth and explained,
As a formation master and artifact smith, I originally wanted to ask Fourth Sister to help her refine the celestial mechanism Dan Furnace.
She said the celestial mechanism Dan Furnace is with you, so I came over. Originally, Asura cultivated in the Four Sisters Wanden Valley to celebrate Asura's successful Dan refining, and directly gave away the best Dan Furnace in the world. But he has not used it yet. This sister urged from the side, planning to help Asura artifact crafting increase strength as soon as possible. Asura joked about the surrounding environment, filled with the smell of bronze corpses and the decay of evil cultivators. He wanted to find a quiet place to move to. Fifth Sister responded with a sound and stepped directly into the void, but then she forgot that Asura hadn't left yet. He still didn't have the ability to travel through the void. But Qingyuner on the side suddenly broke the deadlock, saying,
Young master, let's follow along.
Asura blushed. Even though he didn't have the ability to walk through the void, Qingyuner did. He just had the idea when he was carried into the air. I only saw Asura lying contentedly in the arms of Qingyuner. In a certain cave, pink rays of light wafted out from within. Asura asked beside Fifth Sister why they suddenly needed to refine the celestial mechanism Dan Furnace. But Fifth Sister can turn it into a stronger weapon for Asura. A series of Emperor rank formation diagrams also reflected onto the Dan Furnace. Asura revealed an eager expression on the side. Fifth Sister reassured Asura not to worry, saying,
Wait until I have redrawn the formation script on the celestial mechanism Dan Furnace, then you will see how powerful it is.
Although Asura does not understand the way of artifact crafting, he can tell from Fifth Sister's demeanor that it will probably take less than half an hour for the celestial mechanism Dan Furnace to be refined. Qingyuner suddenly spoke up on the side, saying,
If there's nothing for me to do here, young master, I will take my leave.
Upon hearing this, Asura smiled and said,
Yinner, from now on, you don't have to always address me as young master. Just call me Asura directly.
Qingyuner blushed and spoke up to argue.
How can this be? I am the Great Chu Long Guard, and you are the princess's brother. We must not mislabel our identities.
Asura also understands the responsibilities of the Long Guard. However, Qingyuner is willing to risk her life to protect herself. Asura has long regarded her as a friend. Upon hearing the word, friend, from Asura's mouth, a look of confusion appeared on Qingyuner's pretty face. Asura's palm lightly rested on Qingyuner's shoulder, expressing the thoughts in his heart. In my heart, we are not in a master-servant relationship, but an equal relationship between friends. Qingyuner kept thinking about what Asura said about friends, but she forcibly suppressed the fantasy in her heart.
No, young master, as a member of the Great Chu Long Guard, I cannot act like this.
Asura smiled at this, and did not try to dissuade her too much. He was not in a hurry now, and suggested taking it slowly in the future. He wants to directly change Yinner's beliefs, which seemed somewhat unrealistic. Qingyuner's flushed cheeks remained unchanged. Since becoming a Long Guard, she has always existed in the role of protecting others. However, Asura was the first to speak to her in such a friendly manner. Just at this moment, Fifth Sister's voice suddenly sounded.
It's almost over.
The sound of the furnace reverberated from the celestial mechanism Dan Furnace, and a golden light shone throughout the entire cave. Worldly-wise and sophisticated version, Asura. He not only has to deal with the selfless dedication of 6 sisters, he also needs to control his relationships with female friends around him. He just started calling this Qingyin'er from the Great Chu Long Guard his friend. Fifth sister celestial mechanism furnace, which she diligently refined, is also completed. Watching the golden light emitted by the celestial mechanism furnace, Asura couldn't help but feel emotional. If he could summon the Dan furnace directly for a fight in the future, it would definitely be very satisfying. Adorable fifth sister was also nearby, earnestly explaining every question that Asura asked. However, there are still many uses that you need to discover on your own. Asura's eyes gleamed with a greedy look, wanting to learn the deploy formation from fifth sister. Sure, but whether you can eventually learn it will depend on your understanding and aptitude. When Asura said this, he quickly stepped forward to flatter and gave massages. When it comes to understanding and aptitude, I, Asura, may be second to none, but no one dares to claim the first place. Fifth sister lightly waved her feather fan and explained that there are requirements for the deploy formation. Your spiritual chi within your body must have the same attributes to be effective. Asura summoned thunder and flames. Although they are two different attributes, they can crush any target with the same attribute. On the other side, fifth sister's eyes shone brightly, very satisfied with these two attributes. Fire attribute is the main attack, while thunder attribute serves as support. She then, also, took out a secret book from her arms, wanting to directly learn how to arrange it. But it's not an easy thing to do. Like the fourth sister, Asura's face still had a touch of greenness. After fifth sister took out the jade tablet, she began to prepare to engrave a formation talisman. Asura, like a child who has never seen the world, earnestly observed every move of fifth sister. In less than a quarter of an hour, fifth sister handed the carved formation talisman to Asura. Here, take this. Thunder Flame Twin Ultimate Formation. The stronger your cultivation level, battle strength, and the attributes of spiritual chi in your body, the more powerful this formation will be. Asura took the formation talisman, but he didn't have time to ponder over it. Fifth sister was planning to leave. It turns out that fifth sister specially came this time to refine the celestial mechanism Dan furnace in order to gain experience. He is going back to study an ancient book on formations. Sister is leaving today. Remember to come to Celestial Mechanism City to find me for fun when you have time. After saying this sentence, fifth sister once again disappeared into the void. Asura waved his hand to bid farewell to fifth sister. Now it's time for him to take Qingyin'er back to Long City. After a while, a sudden exclamation from the sixth sister was heard in the imperial palace of the Great Chu.
What? Fifth sister suddenly appeared when you were eliminating the evil cultivator of Nanyun?
Asura told the sixth sister the story of how fifth sister helped defeat Dan Lord while stuffing food in his mouth. But this does match fifth sister's hasty arrival and departure personality. But this time the sixth sister's arrangements also ended perfectly. The sixth sister, holding Asura, inquired about the next plan. Are you planning to return to Tai Sect to see your little junior sister? But Asura wants to make a detour to Wandan Valley first. The man's father. He left behind the debts of his 6 elder sisters' romantic debts. And the mothers of the 6 elder sisters all have extraordinary backgrounds. Who will be next after Empress? At the inquiry of the 6th sister, Asura informed. He wants to first go to Wandan Valley to find the 4th sister. Are you going to Wandan Valley, Asura? Facing the inquiry of the 6th sister, Asura will explain the reason. He left in a hurry last time before there were any results from the Dan refining. This time, 5th sister happened to refine the celestial mechanism Dan furnace again. So he decided to go find the 4th sister to consolidate his Dan refining skills, not knowing that he would meet another sister's mother again. He chatted with the 6th sister about everyday matters. Tomorrow morning, he plans to set off for Wandan Valley. Remember to come and play with the 6th sister when you have time. On the second day at noon, Asura had already arrived at Wandan Valley Outer. Who would have thought he was stopped by the guards at the door, requesting to show his official badge, just like the last time he entered the palace. Last time, he was directly brought into the palace by the 4th sister, I haven't heard anything about needing a badge. Asura revealed the truth that his own sister is Dan Emperor Joan Lyra. But as soon as they heard the names, they knew that the surnames of the two were different. They saw the guards about to use a spear to drive them away. A beam of light suddenly illuminated the entire gate, with the retrieval of the celestial mechanism Dan Furnace. Two guards were dumbfounded, as the celestial mechanism Dan Furnace is the designated Dan Furnace of the Dan Emperor. Asura revealed a meaningful smile and asked,
"Can I go in now?"
The two guards dared not intercept anymore, and also took the opportunity to inform Asura of the location of Dan Emperor. The two people looked at the back of Asura. The two guards, however, were thinking elegantly. They also believed that Asura had come specifically to attend the Grand Alchemy Gathering. The Grand Alchemy Gathering should be the next task. Just as Asura was feeling fortunate that he had the celestial mechanism Dan Furnace. A familiar voice suddenly sounded,
"Asura, why did you suddenly come?"
Upon seeing the stunning face of the fourth sister,
Asura quickly stepped forward, grabbing the fourth sister's jade hand and asking the fourth sister, "Do you still need to teach me how to refine the Saint Essence Dan from last time?" Initially, Asura had not had the opportunity to showcase the results of Dan refining.
He was then taken away by second sister to the four deity sect to steal the saint fruit. This time his intention is very clear. He wants to seek advice from fourth sister again on the technique of Dan refining. I didn't expect you to be quite studious. The fourth sister stepped forward and gently lifted Asura's handsome face, then continued,
"But if you want to practice Dan refining now, you may have to put it on hold temporarily."
Facing Asura's inquiry, the fourth sister obediently informed that she needed to go see her mother now. As soon as this was said, Asura's expression suddenly became flustered and hurriedly asked,
"Is the fourth sister's mother Dan's saint?"
Watching the four sisters' contented expression, Asura's imagination is graceful. I didn't expect that my old man's romantic debts are getting more and more impressive. He used to be the Empress, and now he's the Dan Saint. However, Asura questions his old man's looks. I really wonder what they see in that old guy. But the next moment, he was then dragged away by the fourth sister to meet their mother. Such a sudden request made Asura quickly decline.
"Wait! I'm not ready to meet the parents yet."
"There's nothing to prepare. You just need to come with me." Asura has mixed feelings in his heart. You should know that he is the son of the mother's rival, the fourth sister. Are you sure it's okay to meet like this unprepared, sister? Do you believe it? Not only do I have 6 sisters standing at the top of the mainland, I also have 6 godmothers. The causes and effects of all this. It's all because of my loose old man. At the strong insistence of Dan Emperor, the fourth sister, Asura was forcibly brought into the palace to meet with the fourth sister's mother. As the time approached, Asura, feeling melancholy, asked the fourth sister if it was really appropriate to disturb Lord Dan Saint without being prepared. The fourth sister reassured,
"Don't worry. My mother is very gentle, and perhaps when you go to see her this time, you might even receive a special gift."
Asura said,
"I don't dare to ask for any gifts."
He just hopes that Lord Dan Saint will not blame him because of his philandering old man. The fourth sister's idea fell through. Holding Asura's hand, she opened the gate of the mansion. "Mother, we're here." A crisp and gentle voice sounded from inside the main hall, saying,
"Come in."
Asura quickly bowed and greeted.
"I, Asura, have met the respected Senior Dan Saint."
Upon hearing Asura's name, Dan Saint was briefly stunned, but quickly realized Asura's identity. He indeed bore some resemblance to that old and immortal Skyward. Dan Saint's deep hatred towards Asura's father was evident. Asura quietly asked fourth sister, whispering softly,
"Sister, didn't you say that Lord Dan Saint is very gentle?"
Fourth sister was also at a loss. This was the first time she had seen their mother lose her composure. Their mother had always been gentle, but whenever anything related to their father was mentioned, she would become like this. Asura was momentarily speechless. He also understood the principle of a son repaying his father's debts. However, Dan Saint quickly regained his composure. "Yi Asura, you don't need to be nervous, because the affairs of our previous generation will not involve you." These words bear a resemblance to Empress, the sixth sister's mother. A woman who can achieve such accomplishments is definitely not ordinary. Dan Saint suddenly covered her mouth and chuckled lightly, showing a motherly look, and directly called me Dan Saint Sr. "Isn't that a bit too formal?" Yi Asura opened his mouth tentatively and asked, "Should I call you godmother?" This sweet term of endearment quickly captivated Dan Saint. She gently stroked Yi Asura's head, intending to give him a small gift as a token of their meeting. Yi Asura may say, "No," with his mouth, but his body is very honest. He may not dare say other things, but he is skilled at flattering older sisters and godmothers. Dan Saint pulled out a bag of shining Dan pills, and the extraordinary quality of these Dan pills can be seen just from their color. However, the godmother may not have anything else, but she definitely has plenty of Dan pills. If there are not enough, feel free to come find me at any time. He looked at the top-notch Dan pill handed to him. Yi Asura also couldn't hide his excitement. You should know that each of these Dan pills, when taken out, would cause a sensation on the continent. After some casual chat, Dan Saint then asked Yi Asura if he could reveal the celestial fire in his body. Yi Asura responded with a "Yes." He immediately summoned the nine heavens thunder flame without hesitation. Dan Saint also highly praised the celestial fire when he saw it, showing that this talent for Dan refining is not inferior to the fourth sister of the Dan Emperor. Getting approval from his godmother, Yi Asura scratched his head, but he was also very humble in front of the Dan Emperor and Dan Saint. Dan Saint suggested that Yi Asura participate in the Grand Alchemy Gathering. It's a pity that such talent is not made public to the masses. The fourth sister on the side also echoed in agreement. Yi Asura was still puzzled about what the Grand Alchemy Gathering was and asked in confusion. Dan Saint explained that the so-called Grand Alchemy Gathering is where the world's best Dan alchemists gather together. They compete to determine whose Dan refining skills are the most profound. The fourth sister followed suit to continue tempting Yi Asura. If he wins the championship, he will not only have the supreme status in the Dan refining world, but also obtain a 9-long sacred cauldron. Godmother stepped forward to ask Yi Asura's opinion. The temptation of the 9-long sacred cauldron is indeed not small. Yi Asura patted his chest and responded to Godmother and the fourth sister's arrangement. "I don't have any particular hobbies. I just like actively participating in these activities to improve myself." "Since you said so, if Godmother doesn't make some arrangements, it would be a disservice to your enthusiasm." Yi Asura was taken aback by the words. "There are still more arrangements?" "My father left me with 6 sisters, and a debt of romantic debts with 6 godmothers. He actually dares to show up?" Under the coaxing of Dan Saint and Dan Emperor, Yi Asura decided to participate in the Grand Alchemy Gathering. 2 women faced Yi Asura's enthusiasm. The godmother plans to help Yi Asura arrange a terrifying plan. Yi Asura, upon hearing this, looked at Dan Emperor the fourth sister with a mind full of confusion, only to see the fourth sister stepping forward and lightly placing her hand on Yi Asura's shoulder, sweetly informing him, "Of course, it's the devil training that you are most familiar with and fond of." Yi Asura instantly spat out blood. He knew that the situation he least wanted to see was about to happen. There is still some time before the Grand Alchemy Gathering. During this time, let her properly teach you Dan refining. As soon as grandmother spoke, Yi Asura's fighting spirit soared instantly. Dan refining room after 1 hour. I saw the fourth sister carefully studying Yi Asura's skilled Dan refining technique, accompanied by Yi Asura's angry shout. Just a few breaths later, a sparkling red Dan pill burst out of the cauldron. The fourth sister bent her delicate body and praised softly, "Not bad. Your skills are indeed very proficient. However, to achieve a rank at the Grand Alchemy Gathering with this kind of Dan refining technique, I'm afraid it may be a bit difficult." Asura also understands that there is still a considerable amount of time before the Grand Alchemy Gathering. He is quite confident in his own talent, just like the counterattack in the Great Chu martial trial back then is bound to happen again. The fourth sister will also be embraced by Yi Asura Tower. Seeing your spirited appearance, sister is relieved. Feeling the feedback from sister's body, Yi Asura's face is filled with a happy smile. But soon it came to an abrupt end. I saw the fourth sister take out some ingredients for 3-grade and 4-grade Dan recipes for him to refine. Yi Asura sighed at the high level of these Dan recipes. The fourth sister reassured him to not worry about wasting materials and just focus on practicing. When Yi Asura saw the fourth sister turning to leave, he felt a bit unsure.
The fourth sister, won't you stay and teach me Dan refining?
But the fourth sister showcased the unique features of devil training, directly condensing a golden barrier with her right hand to prevent Yi Asura from escaping. The most important thing is to rely on your own comprehension. In the days to come, you should stay inside and cultivate diligently. Don't think about escaping. She looked at Yi Asura pitifully as he struggled. The fourth sister even threw a flirtatious look before leaving. Sister's barrier is not that easy to break. A barrier set up by a half-saint stage expert would easily cause someone at the Earth Essence stage to die inside. Yi Asura teased the fourth sister for thinking too highly of herself. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. Accompanied by Yi Asura's furious shout, the 100th frenzied blood Dan was successfully refined. Yi Asura looked at the Dan pill in his hand, gaining an extra boost of confidence. With this speed, he would soon be able to make a breakthrough. Just then, a ghostly palm suddenly interrupted Yi Asura's thoughts. He felt the powerful and rough strength of the palm. Yi Asura concluded that this was not the fourth sister, but someone who could break through the fourth sister's barrier and sneak in silently. This thief was not simple at all. Before the man behind could even call out Yi Asura's name, Yi Asura decided to take a risk. A brick picked up from nowhere was forcibly embedded into his own father's handsome face. He was scolding audaciously.
Take this brick!
Loud Duo lay on the ground, covering his face angrily and scolding.
You brat, do you want to overturn the heavens? Are you so ruthless that you would hit your own father?
Yi Asura felt a bit embarrassed, not expecting that he almost attacked his father in a fit of rage.